I like to think I'm a pretty active member of my community. In high school, I was a drum major of my high school marching band, which resulted in me having to march in parades in front of just thousands of people in my community. And I had to do the most white people dances of all time. I'm talking like straight up like, hey, whoa, hey, boom, 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 as Sweet Caroline was playing. And let me tell you something, nothing makes you care less about what people think about you than having to turn your brain off and do white people dances in front of thousands of people in suburban America. But I've been very involved when it comes to trying to get into my community and really pick apart that type of stuff, because I'm only at home for so long until I have to go back to college, and the whole set here will change and everything like that. So I have to take advantage of the time that I have here while I can, so I can eventually rule the world and take over every single aspect of everything. But I can get pretty political on this channel. I don't tend to show my hand when it comes to how I feel about that type of stuff, or at least I don't intend to. But I have interviewed the mayor of Gilbert on this channel, and I have spoken to different members of my community that actually could be pretty controversial. But what I will say, with all of that preamble aside, I do feel very strongly about the importance of voting and the importance of making real change in our communities. Of course, you can't always vote and just assume that that's going to be the answer. But it is an important part of the process to still be a part of all of this type of stuff. And so when I found out that a notable political figure was going to be at an IHOP and I could just go there and get free food, you damn well know that I went. Jim Lehman is a candidate for the Republican primary Senate spot that's happening in this year's election cycle. And he was hosting a breakfast event where he could go talk about his beliefs and try and get people's opinions, and not get other people's opinions, let other people know his opinions on things. And if you win, you got free food. And so I was like, free food? I'm a college student. I like free food. Let's go. So I call them up and they're like, this is the dumbest thing you've ever thought of. And then they were like, but this is actually freaking funny, freaking hilarious. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I didn't want to go in just thinking that this was going to be a boring experience and have him ramble on about, oh, well, if we have a free market, we will be able to truly... I didn't want any of that freaking moderate stuff. I wanted the insane things. And luckily, he really did deliver. One of Jim's biggest pushes on his website is to take the Mississippi River and carve it out so that it reaches Arizona in 4 different spots. Now, this might be a legitimate, solution to Arizona water and stuff like that, and there might be a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, but if you step back for me, that's a Lex Luthor plan, right? That's literally the plot. That's like a plot in a old Christopher Reeves Superman movie. I'm gonna take the Mississippi River and I'm gonna blow it up. I'm gonna make roads and parking lots out of the Mississippi River, and nobody can stop me. And then Superman comes in and stops him, but not until he freaking turns the rotation of the earth, destroying countless farming cycles for years to come. So this was the type of guy that we were going after, that we were trying to, get free food from. That's literally the one goal. I wanted pancakes. I wanted pancakes at the International House of Pancakes, so we went to go get pancakes. And then Jackson is the most Democrat I've ever met, so I was really trying to figure out, okay, is he gonna be super offended by this and not be able to laugh at this? We all ended up laughing at it, very much so, but not while we were there. After the fact, we didn't want to get freaking yelled at and kicked out of the IHOP before we got our free pancakes. We had expected it to be sort of an open house type thing where you sat down, you ate, he showed up to your table, started talking about some points, that type of thing. That's not what it was. It was him in the center of this IHOP with a bunch of people that already support him, just surrounding this entire establishment. And he's just talking about all of the issues that he feels like America has, right? We did not get the memo. We wore light blue Star Wars shirts, and everybody else was wearing red or white. And if you were really clouded up, you were wearing the Jim Lehman for Arizona Senate shirt. But regardless, it's whatever. It's fine. We tell the people that are like emceeing the event, hey, we're here to see Jim. They're like, oh, that's poggers, bro. Actually, they didn't say poggers. We were definitely the youngest people there that weren't like children of other people. I think the minimum age was like 50. There was not a single person without completely white or gray hair in that facility. So we sit down in the crowd, maybe like a little bit outside of it, but like we are still in the vicinity of everybody else because I wanted to listen to this guy. I wanted to hear what type of things he had to say, because if blowing up the Mississippi River was like supposed to be something that was supposed to compel you, I was dying to know what was going to be the thing that got me to stick around in his eyes. So he starts talking about the vaccine, and we're just sort of just existing. We have our phones out and like writing down notes to show to each other like about what we're thinking, because we didn't want to say stuff out loud because this guy's in the middle of a speech, so we didn't want to like a speech in a IHOP no less, so we didn't want to like cause a scene or cause a ruckus because we already stick out. And then the first mention of China shows up. It's a very common talking point for very, very right-leaning folks to talk about how China is Satan. Which, I mean, sure, there's a lot of things that are like weird about China when it comes to how we handle it and how much money we owe them and how they have jobs and sweatshops and stuff in their facilities. I'm not saying that there isn't, but all he had to do was say the word China and the entire freaking room blew up in anguish. You forget after every election cycle just how much buzzwords mean something. He said the words immigrant, China, and Marxist in one sentence, all at the same time. I think to describe the same person, if I remember correctly. And we were looking at each other, me, Jackson, and Grant, and just going, what's going on? What's he actually saying right now? There was a particular segment where, in this China segment, where he's talking and he says the words something like, China is going to destroy our economy. And then after he says that, a baby starts crying. Like, absolutely wailing. And Grant texts our group chat when that happens, racist ass baby. Jackson had tears down his face. His head turned like a freaking owl outside of the window, looking out, so nobody could see the tears of laughter that were freaking emanating from his face. So he keeps on saying some stuff, and then he gets to the part about immigrants. And this was interesting in that he just kept going. He kept going in. He kept going off. Like all politicians use fear, but people that emulate Trump style really, really push forward with the fear. And this was the crazy part. I couldn't tell you if this was a joke or not. It might have been. But there was a point when he was talking about immigrants that he said the words, hey, I got an idea on how we can deal with these immigrants. How we can deal with them. You know, we have all these islands in the Atlantic. What? Okay, that might have been a joke, but that was the most insane thing to say in the middle of an IHOP. We were sitting in an IHOP. I was eating the Minion meal. I wasn't actually eating the Minion meal, but I was eating pancakes, and he said that in an IHOP surrounded by old people. This guy's gonna be in the primary election in Arizona. So he keeps on going. He says stuff like, we have to defeat the immigrants, which was wild, like as if they're like a 90s boss, like a boss character from a 90s video game. But yeah, he just kept going. We kept eating our pancakes. Racist baby kept on yelping. And then it starts to die down. This one guy, he's a police officer. I don't remember what his name is. I think it's like Sean or something. He walks up and he's like, hey, I'm Sean. I'm not Jim, you can tell. And it was supposed to be like hey, come on, laugh, it's funny. It wasn't funny. Literally, like, dead silence in that freaking restaurant. So Sean is talking up there, which gives Jim Lemon, the time to walk around and talk to the people that hopefully will be voting for him. He walked by every single person in that room. Every single family member, took pictures with them, talked with them, for a good amount of time in that restaurant, the entire restaurant. I think it's to our table. I wish I had an entertaining bit for you, but he walked up, he looked us in the eyes and said, sorry for interrupting your meal, guys, I'll be right out. And then he walked away. Do we really stick out that much? Like, we were in the group of people, and yet he was so baffled at the idea of young people being involved in politics that he just assumed that we weren't there for him. And so he left. And like, his constituents, like the people that were running the thing, like the MCs and stuff like that, were like looking at each other and looking at us, and we're like, you're here to see Jim, right? And we said, yeah, we're here to see Jim. Bro never shows up. I wanted a picture with him badly, bro. I wanted to remember this moment for my entire life. So yeah, everything else is pretty boring. The pancakes were pretty good, but the rest of the story, they just sort of finished their talk, get a couple more questions from the crowd. A guy pulled out his iPhone and shook it around and said, "This is made from China," and then proceeded to keep on using it, so that was strange. And then it was over. And the entire rest of the ride, when I drop people off, is a freaking riot. We're freaking talking about all of the crazy crap that happened. So much that this guy said, how crazy this guy is. And what I realized in that moment was that the crazy people in politics, the extra crazy ones, are not the ones that are in Washington, D.C. Those guys are just like, oh, they're bad, and they want to like take advantage of you and take away your rights and stuff like that. But they're not the crazy ones. No, the crazy ones are the ones here and now, in your circle, in your area. So when you get a text saying, hey, I'm getting free breakfast away, if you want a crazy fun time, go ahead and go.